Hey, Hector here. It's Friday morning, and we just wanted to share three things that you may consider as we get close to the end of the year. And I want to make this quick, I promise, and we will get through it very quickly. The very first thing we want to acknowledge is that 2020 has been a year, and we can say, whew, it's over. Thank goodness. And we pray that we never say that 2020 is the good old days. One of the questions we've had all the way through is who should be president so that the stock market will go up. And as we look back, like we talked about the last time, um, you know, it doesn't really seem to matter whether it's a Democrat or Republican. Markets are tended to do pretty well, and so we continue to think that that's gonna happen going forward. 2021 looks like it's going to be a pretty good year. November seems to be a good indicator for 2021. December might be a little choppy, but we think that at the end of 2021, S&P will be higher than what it is today. So, what are some of the things that you can think about doing? The very first thing is review your timelines and your risk. Timelines in terms of cash that will be needed. If you know you're going to need some money, especially in your retirement in 2021, we may want to put that money in cash or cash like instruments so that we don't have to sell to raise money in a down market in case there is a downturn for a little while. The other thing is revisit your risk tolerance. um, if you have something has changed, a life event change, we might want to consider that. The other thing is if you stayed in place through 2020 and rode the 30% down and then the increase coming up, you may be more risk averse than you think, and then we may want to take that into account because more risk in theory will give you more reward. The other thing to consider is to rebalance because some portfolios have had pretty dramatic increase in our value. And so we may want to take some of the profits that we've made and either use them for cash that you'll need in 2021 or put them in other stocks that will perform differently with the reopening of the economy. Two favorite stocks for a long time have been Amazon and Apple, and we still like Amazon and Apple. I got my new iPhone, even though my old iPhone worked really well. And so a lot of people are doing that. We think that's going to be a big number at the end of the year. And Amazon's already made a one delivery to our house this morning. So, but what I've done when you became client, I told you that when I added a position to my portfolio, I would let you know. So I'm going to let you know in the last few days, I've added these two stocks. Um, Tesla, who's a makes electric cars, and it's only 1% of all the cars that are made, and they're the leader, and so that's a good place to be. And they've had a really nice run over the last year or two. We even had it in some more aggressive portfolios in the past, but Tesla has been added to the S&P 500. They go in later on this month. What that means is that every index fund that tracks the S&P 500 will have to sell the 501st stock and buy Tesla. And of course, more buyers means prices will go up. And so we think Tesla is a good place to be going forward. Boeing is another company that I like that I added to my portfolio. And again, this doesn't mean you have to add it to yours, but we might have a conversation about it. As the economy opens up, people are going to start to travel. The airlines are going to need the 737 MAX because it's a more efficient airplane. It's more profitable for them. And so we really like Boeing going forward. It got beat up before the pandemic, and it's making a progress. It's about a $350 stock at one point. It's about $230 today. So might be a good long-term play owning Boeing. And then the last thing, and we talk about this at the end of every year, is a tax strategy with the 27, the pandemic led us to a stimulus, which now brings, and by the way, the stimulus is a good thing, and I hope we get some more, and that's a good thing. But the reality is now our national debt is up to $27 trillion, and they're talking about adding another trillion or more. And so common sense will tell you that at some point we're going to have to raise taxes to pay this thing down. We're going to have to do something to pay this thing down. And if we look back at the highest tax rates since 1933 or 1915, you see that in the 50s, and even into the 60s. The highest tax rate was like 90 in the 90 percentile. Now, back then the tax code was way different, but still, you can see the taxes can go up, and our highest tax rate right now is 37.5%. So what might make some sense is to lock that in lower tax rates today. So the idea is to take money out of these tax deferred assets like your 401k, your IRA, your TSP, your any qualified plan, and move them to a tax-free account. That's a Roth, and that's called a Roth conversion. And you can do as much of that as you want at any given year. The challenge becomes, well, the reason you want to do it is because if you leave it there 5 years, it's tax free. That's a good thing. That means that your kids won't have to pay it if you leave that as a legacy. It means that you're not going to be forced to take any money out in what's called a required minimum distribution. The the bad news is that when you take the money out, you got to pay taxes in this year. And that's what I'm saying is we can lock in the tax rate right now, put the money in. And if you think taxes are going to be higher in the future, it might make some sense to do that. And you can do as much as you want. You just need to be careful not to get into another tax rate, to a higher tax rate. One, two, if you're in Social Security, you don't want to take so much that you bump yourself into a higher a Medicare Part B premium. That wouldn't be a good thing. And you also need to be careful if you have kids in college, because your FAFSA score will be impacted, and of course that will hurt you with college planning and financial aid in college. So a lot of things to consider, but something to at least think about. That does it for me. I hope you are having a great day today. I hope you have a great weekend, and I hope you have a blessed holiday season and a very, very Merry Christmas. And I look forward to talking to you guys soon. If we need to talk about this or anything else, just respond to this email, and we will set a time where we can do a Zoom call. Thank you so much. God bless.